Welcome to the last of a series of videos exploring the symbolism of the social links and confidant in Persona 3, 4, and 5. We are in the home stretch now as we tackled Arcana number 16 to 21. Once again, this video contains spoilers for Persona 3, 4, and 5. Not just for the social link and confidant storylines, but for the main plot, optional content, and the ending too. If you do not want spoilers, then please head out now. This is your only warning. With that, for the last time,
Social link, go!
The tower is struck by lightning. There can be no greater representation of a message of truth sent by higher powers. The people falling represent a loss of control. We are forced to check our reality as we are subject to sudden change, upheaval, chaos, revelation, awakening, broken pride, disaster, or tragedy. Reversed, this can mean personal transformation, fear of change or suffering, averting disaster, avoiding loss, or resisting change. Mutatsu's life took many drastic turns. He used to be a regular office worker until the family he neglected left him. He took over his family's temple, thinking it would be an easy job, only to find that he is busier than before. But his new job and vices only serve to distract him from how lonely he is. He tends to project onto the protagonist as he reminds him of his youth and his child. He becomes pensive, and the pessimistic lesson he imparts to the protagonist are hard-won wisdom from his own life. Eventually, he decides to stop running away. He goes out to find his family and beg for their forgiveness. Shu is very arrogant when it comes to his intelligence. He believes school is something beneath him and tends to look down on people, but turns out this was all a facade for a very insecure boy. Shu has attached his self-esteem and self-worth to his intelligence, and he doesn't know who he is outside of it. His relationship with the protagonist might be the first real human relationship he has. So when the transfer student arrives, who is good at sports, has high grades, and has lots of friends, Shu feels threatened. He felt that the only way to keep his ranking was to cheat, leading to a disastrous confrontation with the school and his mother. But when the investigation team throws him a birthday party, he doesn't feel abandoned. He is able to be honest with his feelings and reconcile with his mother. Shu realizes that family is something you work on, not a series of conditions to be met. Now that the future Shu wanted is beyond his reach, he finds himself excited to try new things and explore who he really is. Shinya is skilled with shooting games because no one wants to play with him. He can be very competitive and tends to swear whenever someone is playing with him. He sees the world as divided into winners and losers, a view largely influenced by his mother. His mother often meddles with school affairs, leading to Shinya getting harassed. He calls this situation a war. When he gets beaten by the pro gamer, he doubles down on this attitude since he doesn't want to be a loser or prey. He is seeking strength so that his mother doesn't have to be strong anymore, but this leads to him bullying another kid. He tries to tell her mother that she doesn't have to be strong anymore for his sake, but has to contend with the idea that her mother has become a bad guy. In the end, Shinya realizes that defeating people doesn't make you strong. Saving them does. He no longer seeks to win. Now he just wants his mother and him to be happy. The star features one huge prominent star surrounded by smaller ones. The unconventional shape of the star signifies it as a symbol of the spirit. It is a mystical center and one's destiny. The star is a sign that guides us and asks us never to give up hope, faith, purpose, renewal, spirituality, or rejuvenation regardless of what is happening. Reversed, this can mean lack of faith, despair, disconnection, insecurity, or discouragement. Mamoru loves sports. He comes from a poor family but hopes of getting a sports scholarship to enter college. When his mother gets sick, he becomes worried about his siblings. The idea of giving up his sport disheartens him. However, his team rallied behind him and helped him take care of things back home while his mother recovers. Rejuvenated, he is able to claim victory at the sports meet and retire his career with no regrets. Before, he blamed his father for robbing him of a normal life. Now, he no longer runs away from his problem as he works to support his family. Teddy, despite his jovial nature, is unsure of what he is. This makes him feel useless, insecure, and afraid of being discarded. So he finds a way to follow the investigation team everywhere. He has faith that he will discover who he is if he sticks with the protagonist. After finding out how much fun the other world is, Teddy is reluctant to leave, so he makes a new promise with Nanako, which elates him. But when Nanako dies, Teddy finds that he cannot stay in the other world and wanders back into the TV world. There he learns the truth of what he is, a shadow that awakened to human emotions, and took on a form that would get people to like him. Returning to Nanako's side, he realizes that his voice, as well as everyone else's, helped Nanako come back from the brink of death. Teddy decides that regardless of what he is, he will push forward and help the seekers of the truth. Hifumi has an overactive imagination when she is playing shogi. While this does demonstrate her deep love of the game, it is also a source of ridicule from others. Her mother promotes her and she becomes something of a celebrity. This causes her to be harassed by fans and be shunned by other shogi players. When her family's tragic circumstances gets published in a magazine, she despairs at how her mother's fame-mongering has been destructive to her family. This is further compounded when she discovers that her mother has been bribing or blackmailing her competition. However, she remembers why she liked playing shogi again in the first place. She reveals the scandal right before her match with a pro player. After her defeat, she feels relieved and decides that she will stop listening to others and focus on her own skills instead. The moon features a crustacean. As it emerges from the water, this becomes an expression of coming out of hiding. Its exoskeleton symbolizes the armor we use to protect our souls. Such multi-layered imagery depicts illusion, anxiety, subconscious, intuition, deception, dreams, insecurity, fear, or misconception. Reversed, it can mean repressed emotion, inner confusion, unveiling secrets, release of fear, subsiding anxiety, truth, and self-deception. Nozomi's self-appointed title of Gourmet King makes him delusional and disconnected from the world. He misunderstands the intention of people in approaching him. He had a twin brother who died when he was young. When he was unable to match up to his departed brother's achievements, he turned to food as a coping mechanism. His insecurities were preyed upon by a cult and he joined and now tricks others into joining too. This leads into a confrontation when all of his walls start cracking. With the help of the protagonist, he slowly peels back the layers of his delusions and realizes that he just doesn't want people to leave him. Eventually, he is able to find purpose in being a real food critic. Ai obsesses over fashion, beauty, and boys. She believes that her good looks will get her whatever she wants. She tries to own her bad girl image but is hurt when people gossip about her. Ai's family used to be poor and she used to be overweight. When her family came into money, she took it as an opportunity to change herself and obsessed over diets and women's magazines. But the more she forces herself to become an ideal woman, the more confused she becomes. She was trying to find a reason to live, something that proves her worth, but she was trying to find it in the validation of others. With the help of the protagonist who saw her for who she really is, she learns how to be truthful to herself. Mishima operates the Phantom Thieves fan website and runs propaganda for them. Over time, he starts using the website for his own interests. Mishima gains a modicum of fame and it has gone to his head as he calls himself a hero of justice. Eventually, his jealousy seeps through as he becomes more interested in drumming up attention for the Phantom Thieves rather than bringing the corrupt to justice. He wants to change the world, but when he starts targeting people in his personal life, it becomes evident that he has his own agenda. Mishima wants to change from the cowardly person he was, but is seeking change for all the wrong reasons. When he finally stood his ground and showed true courage, Mishima showed that while he may not be able to change the world, he can at least change himself. The sun has a serene face at the center. This illustrates how the face of humanity turns to the light of truth. The serenity on the face is brought about by knowledge of purpose and intuition on how to maximize this purpose. The combination of purpose and direction is demonstrated through positivity, warmth, success, vitality, happiness, openness, and optimism. Reverse, this can mean inner child, feeling down, overly optimistic, sadness, and pessimism. Akinari's terminal illness causes him to push people away. Since his disease is so rare, he feels alone and develops fatalistic and nihilistic views on the world. He tries to find meaning in his suffering but finds no answers. Over time, he becomes less lonely, realizing that everyone is waiting to die. His time with the protagonist encourages him to try writing a story. Akinari believes that the purpose of your life is something you work towards but never realize, and this is reflected in his story of the pink alligator. Despite the tragic ending, the pink alligator eventually found the meaning of his life. After finishing his story, despite being in a lot of pain, he is happy he could have lived, because this means he got to meet the protagonist. Yumi is a confident, encouraging, if a bit arrogant member of the drama club. She loves acting because it allows her to embody a different person. But her world is turned upside down when her father comes back into her life on his deathbed. She has complicated feelings with her father since he left Yumi and her mother for another woman, but her mother insists on staying by his side. Her resentment, her feelings of abandonment, her father's mortality, all of these things weigh heavily on her. Over time, she is able to face her father. She forgot that her father was a kind man and starts taking care of him. As he dies, her father explains the meaning of her name, to bear fruit. Her parents wanted her life to be filled with good things in the same way their lives were blessed with her. She decides to live up to her name by supporting those that have been supporting her all this time. Ayane loves music. Even if she is forced to play a trombone, even if she is relegated to cleaning and logistics, she is willing to contribute anything to help the orchestra. When she gets an opportunity to play, she practices everywhere. She loves how music can reach out to people and hopes to be able to spread that inspiration to others. However, when the person she is meant to replace gets better, at no one's prompt, she backs out to let the better musician play. While this is what she would normally do, because the protagonist helped her out so much, she felt guilty about being so meek and avoiding conflict. She realizes that she wants to be noticed by people but refuses to make the first move. She becomes resolved to speak her mind more often and to be more selfish with opportunities in the future. She has learned to stop asking if and to start asking when. Yoshida tries to rally people to discover the truth behind the many scandals and incidents. He has lost 7 straight elections but does not give up, persisting despite hecklers and skeptics. Yoshida becomes invested in Joker's learning. As a young politician, he was only interested in politics to live a glamorous lifestyle. Now he openly admits to his faults and persists on campaigning to do the right thing. He refuses the aid of more powerful political parties because he believes that this would be a betrayal of his ideals, and he suspects that they may be planning to take advantage of him. His instincts prove correct as both sides try to use him as a tool to damage the other party. Because Joker continues to believe in him, Yoshida no longer gets flustered when someone brings up his past. As more details of his past scandals become more known to the public, he becomes admired for his conviction in accepting a false charge for 20 years. However, when it comes to conviction, Yoshida admires the Phantom Thieves, and whether he is elected or not, he strives to match their conviction. The judgment blares out a trumpet, calling us to rise out of our complacency and to live invigorating lives. This is a call to action, asking us to heed or seek a judgment, rebirth, inner calling, absolution, awakening, renewal, or forgiveness. Reverse, this can mean self-doubt, inner critic, ignoring the call, indecisiveness, or false accusations. This arcana is often the turning point in the story. It is a crisis point where many important revelations threaten the resolve of the heroes. More importantly, it is where the characters are faced with difficult choices, ones with game-ending consequences. Ryoji reveals to the Cease that their enemy, Nyx, is inconceivably powerful. He offers them the chance to erase their memories so they do not live in despair knowing the end is coming. However, each member of the Cease find their own reasons to fight. When even the protagonist is not dissuaded, the focus of the organization becomes the annihilation of Nyx. As they ascend the final floors of Tartarus, everyone steals their resolve, never giving up even if there is no hope. The investigation team is pushed to the brink, but refusing to kill Namatame ensures that the truth is not lost in the fog. They are forced to re-evaluate everything they know about the case and the Midnight Channel. As they rack their brains, the answer comes to the protagonist. As inconceivable as it could be, they confront Adachi. A slip of the tongue reveals him to be the true culprit. They pursue him and thwart the plan to envelop Inaba in fog. As the fog clears on Inaba, the Seekers of the Truth celebrate their victory under Inaba's blue sky. Sae wants to know the truth behind the Phantom Thieves. With so many outside interests interfering with the case, she seeks to learn the truth from Joker himself. She initially dismisses Joker's story, but when her sister starts becoming involved, that is when she starts listening carefully. She finds herself reevaluating many things, like Wakaba Ishiki's case and Akechi. Despite this, she is slow to believe Joker's story. However, her instincts tell her that the Phantom Thieves are not killers. She also starts to see how she was being set up. She barely had any staff and all of them were already working for someone else. Sae begins to question what is true and her own sense of justice as she listens. But the Phantom Thieves had faith that she would want to pursue the case to the end, and so she agrees to Joker's deal. The world features 4 astrological signs: Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, and Aquarius in 4 corners. They represent an alignment of stars coinciding for the ultimate reward. A wreath covers the central figure, representing a victory achieved. This coming together of all these elements is represented through completion, integration, accomplishment, travel, success, or wholeness. Reverse, this can mean stagnation, lack of success or achievement, disappointment, delays, or burden. The world will only make itself available to the players once they have fulfilled the requirements for the true ending. Throughout the game, there are many pitfalls which could lead to a bad or false ending. Achieving the World Arcana usually means that you have sidestepped these pitfalls and are en route for the best ending. The world is not attached to a person, but rather to the Velvet Room itself. The Velvet Room manifests itself differently depending on the guest, but it always serves a function. The presence and existence is an indication that the guest's journey is not yet completed. In Persona 3, the Velvet Room is an endlessly ascending elevator, mirroring the Sea's endless climb up Tartarus. In their final battle against Nyx, the bonds the protagonist has created forms the new Arcana, the universe. The Velvet Room stops and lets the protagonist go at the top of Tartarus, where they use their newfound power to seal Nyx. In Persona 4, the Velvet Room is a limousine, cruising down a foggy land. Izanami curses the investigation team and makes them eternally lost in the fog. With the bonds the protagonist formed, he is able to see past the fog and achieve the ultimate form of his persona, Izanami no Okami. Defeating the goddess banishes the fog forever from both Inaba and the other world. The Velvet Room breaks and allows the protagonist to step outside the vehicle so they may witness what the other world looks like before it was consumed by the fog. In Persona 5, the Velvet Room is a prison meant to rehabilitate its tenant. While the god of control, Yaldabaoth, is defeated, Joker needs to testify to bring all those involved with the mental shutdown to justice. This would also mean that Joker would have to go to jail for the crimes of the Phantom Thieves. Joker agrees to this. By refusing to compromise his beliefs, Joker earns his last arcana, the world, which leads Joker and his allies to the future guided by hope. Livid at Joker's sacrifice, the rest of the Phantom Thieves find a way to free him, while Joker's confidant gathers support for him. Having fulfilled their purpose, the Velvet Room and its denizens disappear. While Joker is in jail once more, he is free of the jail in his heart. And with that, we have completed most of the major arcana. Thanks for watching. This was a long time coming. I apologize for the delays as stuff kinda happened one after the other. Once again, these interpretations are subjective. Feel free to add your own interpretations in the comments below. Until our paths cross again, see you, Wildcard.